So right now, let's create our models and head over to the models.py in order to create the basic elements of our database. So the first thing first is that we should head over to our app folder, which is here houses, and head over to the models.py, and here is the place where we can create our models classes. So I can here create a class and call this houses, or in general form I can write product. So if you're creating a dealership website, you can write class cars, vehicles. If you're creating a real estate website, then you can call this homes, houses for sale. And if you're creating the website for selling the product, then you can call it product. But product is the main name that I can consider for this class. So models.model is the input of the class, and let's head over to the class itself. So for every product here for the house, we can consider a title. So this is the most important part. So we can use the character field, models.char field, and then we'll have max underline length, which equals to 200 here, and then so the title shouldn't be more than 200 characters, and then we can have the description. So we can have a description, and for that we can use the text field. So models.text field. Oh, it's written this way, and then afterward we can have the price of the house or the product or the car, whatever it is. So price models.decimal field. So here we can consider the max digits for the price. You can just change it anytime you like. So max underline digits could be 10. You can also maximize the digits if the price goes above that amount. So generally we don't have houses that are over $1 billion. But if it exceeds that amount, then you can add other digits. So for example, if it's a $10 billion house, then you can maximize the digits to 11. But generally 10 is a good amount for the digits. So decimal underline places for the decimals after the dollar, which is not necessarily important, but we can consider it here for the other products where that is going to be important. And then we can have the image. So here consider that we should upload the image into a folder. So first of all, let's have the models.image field, image field, and then we'll consider the place where the photos are going to be uploaded to. So upload underline to equals product image path, and then we'll define the product image path somewhere else. Product underline image underline path, and then we can place null equals true in order to make it a non-obligatory part. So what I mean by that is that you don't have to necessarily upload an image for the house. This is very important because sometimes you don't have the image of the house, but you want to enter the data for that house. So in that case, it should get the house data without entering the image. So it has to have that kind of capability to be able to enter the data without entering the image. And also we can set blank equals true. which is nearly the same. So here let's define the product image path here, so we can create another class for defining that. This makes our code much more object oriented and organized. So product image path, underline path, and so it will get instance in the file name, instance and the file name, and then we'll return f and then backtick. So whenever we want to put a variable in between a kind of a strings, we will add that here. So product and then slash instance.id, instance.id. So then we will have a slash bracket filing. So in this way we can make sure that we get the instance ID and then the file name in the product. So the product, actually here this is the products, so this is the products instance ID in the file name. So what's gonna do here for us is that it will head over to the products instance ID and the file name. This is the place where it will return the image. Actually here, instead of backtick, we should place a single quote, because in Python we don't use backtick. In JavaScript we use backtick and then dollar behind the brackets, but here in Python we don't do that. We can so easily use the single quote, f behind the single quote, and then we put the parameters inside of the brackets. So products, we get the instance ID, which is the variable, and the file name. Then it will find the image for us. This is the place actually where it's gonna upload to. So right now that we have these variables, we can have the def str function, and what this is going to do is to help us to put these variables on our admin panel so that we can enter some data using the admin panel, and then be able to add the instances of this class to our database. So for example, we can add the title, description, price, and image of a house, and then see how it's been added to our website. So return self.title. So title is actually the identifier of that house. So we use the title for the title of the house in order to pin this to the admin panel, and it's the representative of that kind of house. So we usually, when we want to create the models.py and we have a class, for example, product or something like that, the title is the most important thing. If you have the users, then the name of the user is the most important thing, and so on. Also notice that we can also add other variables, and it's a good practice to add all the variables and the attributes of this class here at the beginning. But for you to understand better, what if we want to add some other variables, some other properties of this model later? How can we add that? Because this is not possible. For example, this is not possible to add something like a title after you have made the migrations. So in that way, for example, if you want to add the address of that specific house, then you need to do something like models dot, write something like models dot character field, and then what you're gonna do is to have the max length, max underline length, equals to 100. And then what you're going to do is, so if you apply it right over here at this time, this is going to be okay right now. But if you have made the migrations, what I mean by that is to run python manage.py make migrations. Then after you run this command and add this model to the actually template of your database, then and then add some data to that database using the admin panel, then if you write the address this way, it's not going to work and you will face an error. So afterward, what you're going to do is to add blank equals true, and then null equals true. That way, because these are added to your models.py, but in your database you have no data regarding the null and blank. Oh, actually here blank should be written this way. Okay, and you can easily add the address property to the class product. You can add city, you can add a square feet, number of floors, number of bedrooms, zip code, and other properties that you want to add. And then by writing it this way, it makes it possible for you to add some properties that are blank, because you have added some data and the data doesn't exist for the new properties that you have added. This way it's gonna create no errors. So right now I'm gonna delete this part, and we want to experience what happens if that is implemented. We're gonna test this in the future, but right now we can make the migrations. But before we do that, I'm going to actually work on other parts. So we're going to create our templates, we're going to create our home page, our search result page, and or the product page, and see how these products will be shown after we make the migrations and after we enter the data into our database. So right now this is the most basic part of creating our website, because this is the kind of model that will be created in our migrations once we run the migrations. But right now that we haven't run the python manage.py make migrations, we don't have that kind of template here and it's empty. But first of all, let's head over to the admin.py. So one of the most important things is that we register these models into the admin.py or into our admin panel, so that later we can enter some data in our admin panel. So what I'm gonna do here is to first of all keep this first line, and then also I'm gonna import from .models. So from models.py we want to import the product, import product, and then we're going to create the class called product admin. So admin dot model admin, and then go to the next line, list display, list underline display. Notice that you don't have to create this class. This is for a better display of the title and the price. So price, oh actually first let's add the title and then the price. So this way you have a better control where you want to enter data in your database. On the admin panel, and search underline fields equals title. This is for searching on the admin panel. So the line that I'm going to write outside of this class is the most important part. So if you don't even write this class, with this line it's going to work. So the line is admin.site.register, and will contain product, class, and product admin. which is another class, and that class is the representative of the product. So anyway, if you don't want to write this, it's not gonna matter. You can also omit this part and then write admin.site.register, but notice that you have to import the .models. You have to import the product from the models.py. So this line is important, and also this line. Anyway, right now if I run python manage.py make migrations, run it. Oh, here we've got a problem, and we should take a look here what the product is referring to. I think we don't have anything called the products, so we have to also take a look at the URLs. So what I'm gonna do first is to head over to models.py, and here, because we don't have the products, I prefer to change this to houses. But notice that on our Git project, we have this products instead of houses, and also this folder is products, not houses. But here we prefer to change it like that because we want to create our urls.py. Here we have done nothing for our URL, and because we're going to upload our images somewhere, then we have to do that. So right now, we actually, if we hadn't needed the images to upload it somewhere, then we didn't have to write the URLs. But here, because we're going to upload our images here to the houses, instance ID, and file name, our URLs are important. So let's head over to the urls.py, and we keep the admin because we want to head over to the admin panel. And then what we're going to have here is, so this is the urls.py on our real estate. This is the project folder, urls.py. But notice that we are going to have another urls.py in our app folder. So we have two urls.py, one for our app folder, the other one for our project folder. So in our project folder, we're going to add some lines here, and so we'll have path include, and also we're going to have from Django.conf import settings, and then from Django.conf.urls.static from Django.conf. So here, because I'm not going to work on the static files, I'm going to ignore this part. We're going to add this later. So also from the product import views from actually houses. So because this is here we have the houses folder, I'm gonna import the views. However, we haven't worked on the views.py right now, and we have nothing yet about that. But right now what I'm gonna do is to add the path called houses, and then /. So comma, and I'm going to include the, so here I'm going to include the houses.urls. We're going to create a urls.py in our houses folder. So include houses.urls. Actually, this should be written in single quotes. So houses.urls like this, and then another comma. And so we're going to add other URLs later in the future, but right now that's gonna be it. So now let's create the urls.py in our houses folder. So let's create a new file, call it urls.py. So here we'll have from Django.urls import path, and from dot import views. So this should be in the next line. Then we'll have URL patterns equals. So here I'm gonna enter nothing for now because we haven't worked on the views.py, and this is gonna take a lot of time. Notice that here the error mentions that return is not in a function, and if you take a look at the models.py, we'll see that this is not a function. This actually has to be a function. So if I save this and run Python manage.py make migrations, as you can see, the migration has been done successfully. So we didn't necessarily have to create the urls.py, but right now that we have it, this is a more structured project in order to run, and so we'll have a better way of running the project. So now what I'm going to do is to run Python manage.py run server. So actually, let's stop the server. So because we have made the migrations, we need to Python manage.py migrate. So after the migration is done, then we can run the server and follow the link. So as you can see, it says that the page not found, and the reason is obvious because we've created our urls.py in a way that we don't have any pages right over here. So don't worry if you don't find any pages. Let's go to the admin panel. We're logged in. We had actually logged in before, so we have it right over here. Now, as you can see, the products has been added here while there were no products here. Right now, we have added the product class to the admin panel, so we can add a house. As you can see, it has a title, description, price, and the image. So we can add it just the way we added it for the git clone project, but right now it doesn't have so many attributes, such as the number of bedrooms, number of floors, city, address, zip code, and so on.